Rusty Volk, an institution at the fair. I think that's actually the official job title is fair institution. Selena and Rusty, good morning.
Good morning.
Rusty, what is your official title there?
Oh, I'm this guy here at the Northern Wisconsin State Fair. They call the executive director, but a lot of people tell me what to do.
That's exactly it. Yes, that works out well. Selena spent a good chunk of yesterday up there, Selena, as what's the news cliche? Preparations were underway for the fair. And
exactly.
Yeah, you can tell. I get excited about the fair every year. I like it. What was it like watching everybody get set up over there on such a perfect summer day?
Well, it's pretty neat. Well, the funny thing is, when the carnival gets set up, they just pile their stuffed animal winnings, in front of all the games, and then the workers put them up, But it's funny, you walk around the fairgrounds and these big piles of stuffed animals are just sitting all around. But of course, in the buildings and in the barns, lots of stuff is like underway and is really happening.
That's right. Yes, there's already things happening there. Rusty, I mean, this is a kind of a year-round thing for you, but especially in these days just prior to the official opening, I mean, do you even write down a to-do list? There's got to be so many things that just you know by memory, or things that just come up. It's got to be controlled chaos.
Well, I've got my to-do list that I have, but I rarely get to it. In regards that things pop up all the time that really need to be addressed from all the different departments that we've got rolling, things to get ready. Every fair is quite a bit different than the last one, and the setup is never always the same. I call it my gigantic jigsaw puzzle, and it's a matter of fitting pieces in that really don't have a relative place to fit, and you make it work.
You really do, because again, a fair is made up of so many different elements, and I'm going to come to the educational one in just a moment here. But let's start with that main stage, the Leinenkugel's main stage, where you've got. Well, actually, Rusty, do you want to run through who all's on the main stage this week?
Sure. So tonight we got Mark Martell. He's the voice of Queen. He's a super, his voice is something you'll never forget. And he sounds so much like Freddie Mercury from Queen, it's ridiculous. Wow. So Mark Martell is here tonight. The show starts at 8 o'clock. Tomorrow night will be Lee Brice, our country artist here, Lee Brice. On Friday night, we have Ludacris was coming to town. And Saturday night, we have Charlie Barons, just so all the listeners understand that we have enhanced security in the Leinekugel Grand main stage and Northwestern Bank Grandstand area, where we have bag check as well as scanners, no metal detectors. So it's kind of like, well, it is. When you go to the airport, you got to take everything out of your pockets and walk through the scanner. It's the same thing, only we're letting you keep your boots on.
Got to keep things safe and yet entertaining at the same time. Selena, as far as the setup goes, I mean, we asked you to kind of keep an educational element in mind there, and immediately two different things come to mind. One, there's the education building, and you can see all kinds of artwork and kids reports and I don't know, maybe science fair experiments, whatever the case may be. And then of course you've got the showing of animals or other things that they're competing with. What were some of the things that you saw from an education standpoint and getting the kids involved in the full fair experience?
Well, of course, that's what it's really all about, is all of those kids. So yesterday, I got there to meet one fair family in particular who was showing their swine. Christy Gotham is a teacher, and they live in New Auburn, and Whitney and Elliot are her kids, and they were showing swine. And so I got an education on swine showing. I grew up on a farm. We had hogs and beef and horses, but I never showed pigs or anything. So this was an education for me.
Well, wait, so let's get back into so you showed at the Jackson County Fair?
Yeah, just very little. And I was in 4-H,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom was a leader, we called them at that time. She was a leader in 4-H. So I grew up, my family grew up in 4-H, and it was a great time. And what I learned yesterday from the 4-H agent, Jordan Blue, he's fairly new in the county. He told me that about 420 kids are in 4-H in Chippewa County, and that's one of the highest per capita. So it's a very big number of kids.
Rusty, as well. Look, we can talk all day about the food and the rides and the show, and there is so much there. And I guess I went into this thinking that maybe sometimes the experience for kids from education and from showing maybe doesn't always get the attention it deserves. And I wondered if you'd speak a bit about your own impression of what kids and youth get out of the Northern Wisconsin State Fair experience.
Sure, Pat. The Northern Wisconsin State Fair is a little bit different than your typical county fair. And, we have the larger rides and the bigger entertainment. And so that makes us a little bit different, but it's all agriculture. It's an agricultural fair. And these children, and these kids and 4-H and FFA and even other youth groups are getting involved now to work on work on their projects, and the culmination of that work is to have it judged in a competitive manner. The work that these youth are putting into their swine, their beef, their sheep, it's amazing how much they do work and how much time you put in order to get that animal to walk the way you want to walk, stand the way the judge needs to have it stand, showcase it, the feed, the information that they have to know and learn about for raising an animal. The cost of feed is very high. And what is the cost that you have into a small calf that you end up showing at the fair and selling at the fair? Those are the things that you need to learn in agricultural economics, as well as knowing how you're going to continue on. So it's important that we acknowledge those kids at the fair, in the barns, as they're going through everything, so that, we can appreciate that. Come to the auction, bid often, bid high, because it's going to the kids.
Oh, that's right. There is the auction aspect, Selena.
Well, yeah, but first I have to tell you. So I talked with the judge who judges. This was for this swine afterwards, after the show, and he talked about, he's also a professor at a university, and he said, I can always recognize the farm kids because they're confident, they know how to, they raise their hand when a question is answered, and just it's just a different kind of kid, and all of that is interesting, right, Rusty? Because they have a work ethic, they have a different, it's just a whole general feeling.
Exactly. When you're on the farm and you're raising animals, that's your buddy, that's your dog, that's your cat that you love so much. Only these are a lot larger animals, and there's larger care that comes in place with it. But it's truly an educational experience, and those, shall we say, experiences of raising an animal hold true to you the rest of your life. It's great that they can get into a rink like this, and that's going to stand with them forever, because now they have more confidence and poise that they can speak clearly. And I encourage everybody to go into the barns and ask them about their sheep and their animal that they brought. You'll be amazed how bright and how excited and how passionate they are. And that, again, is a learning experience that will hold them through their job careers.
And I think it's good to encourage that, and while at the same time saying that there are definitely hygiene and other protocols in place. We talked earlier about, there's concern about, avian flu and dairy cattle, but before that there was COVID. And even before that, there was just making sure that people used the sanitation stations. And so you're still encouraging people to be, part of the barn experience. But again, don't don't be reckless about it.
Absolutely. And as we built our ag campus with our new facilities here at the Northern Wisconsin State Fair, that was primary as to how do we showcase these animals to the general public, who clearly a lot of them don't have a clue of the details that it goes into these animals. So when we did build them, our animals all are dropped off and are loaded on the back side of the barns, and all the public comes in from the front side of the barns to try to minimize that exposure, cross exposure of going through the barns and catching some. You're not going to, it's just that exposure to animals is something different. We're going to institute no strollers in the barns, and some of those. That's important because strollers, you might pick up some manure or something like that,
Right.
and drag it back, put it in your car. And if you haven't not been around animals a lot, who knows what you might be allergic to. I married a beautiful woman named Mary. I took her out to North Dakota, and she never had whole milk in her life. And she drank some whole milk, and boy, she was sick for 2 weeks. So pasteurization and everything, I'm still married, thank the Lord. 47
Well, what
years.
doesn't kill you makes you stronger, so.
You said it, Pat, and
Yeah.
that's the truth. But sometimes you gotta experience them things in order to build your immune system up. That's
Absolutely. Folks, I know some folks who've been there. They're going to want to know. This is a big thing for them. It certainly is for my younger grandkids. Will you still have the racing pigs and goats and ducks?
That's my favorite.
absolutely, absolutely. They're down by the WEAU front porch stage. Right. It's kind of behind. It's by the walk-up entrance.
Yes.
When you look at your books that you have, when you get into, there's a map in there, and it showcases. Oh yes, they will be racing crazy.
Selena, you
That's
just
my
you were. I
favorite.
expected. I always expect the 9-year-old to react strongly. I did not expect that from you.
I love that. That's one of my favorite things. And now I did get Emery into it too, because I love fairs. I love the fair, and I wanted to instill all of that in her also. So we've gone to the fair, and then by a couple of days or whatever, I said, "Do you want to go?" And then she's like, "Okay, just to go to the racing ducks."
Just for the
There's been other days, so
Well-
that's one. She's like, "Just for that," and then we'll leave.
Exactly.
Well, look, let's get her more deeply involved. There's the kids pedal tractor pull. I mean, I'm sure she could.
She's done the tractor pull before.
Has she?
She qualified for the state event one
Oh,
year.
for goodness sakes!
Good.
I can't
Well,
even.
Yeah.
Go
We
ahead,
got a
Rusty.
sanctioned tournament. We got a sanctioned tractor pull here, so you get sanctioned and you qualify for the state, and that's exactly it.
Yeah.
It's about those experiences that we can instill upon the public that may not be on the farm. I think that's the biggest thing, and honestly, I'm passionate about what these kids see here that they take with them. I've got a grandson. He was here last year, and he sat on Chester, a big draft horse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! Now he's got to have a hat and a boot and everything else, and every horse he sees is named Chester. But
Yep.
that's the impression these kids have, and so it's important that they come and find that new experience. A lot of people say, "What's my favorite part of the fair?" And my favorite part is watching them, grandpas and grandmas, and the families that are with them, but the kids, the excitement that they get. That's an impression that's a lasting impression.
It sure is.
That's the beautiful part of it.
Oh God, is it ever? I can't wait to get over there. And like I said, my one daughter stayed late just to go today before heading back to Idaho. It's her favorite thing to do here. Glad to get her back in Chippewa Falls for that. So we'll be looking for you, Rusty. Selena, thank you as well. Have a wonderful weekend. A great time at the fair for everybody up here in Chippewa. Good to see you guys.
Awesome. Thanks
And-
a lot, guys.
See you,
You
Rusty.
bet.